Hello all, and welcome to a late night edition of Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. It's still Saturday, at least by my clock. I have some games left to open. They fit into the sci-fi fantasy genre. They're really not war games, or if this is not a war game. But, hey, it's Saturday night. Wife's out of town. What's a guy to do? Anyway, tonight, I'm going to be unboxing Vindication. I got this in an auction off BGG. It was under their new market promo where it had free shipping. And thank goodness for the free shipping, because not only did this bundle include Vindication, which is pretty meaty, and in fact it's got some of the punch boards shrink wrapped to the back, but it also included Vindication expansion, Leaders and Alliances, a Vindication 12 card community pack, Tuk or Tuk miniature, and the Vindication Boulder Hulk promotional miniature. So all that came today in the mail this afternoon, and I really kind of wanted to get this to the table. My two oldest kids are home after doing a bunch of school stuff today, so I thought, hey, I need to open this up. I need to break it out, and I want to see if we can get it to the table tonight still. Don't know, running up against a deadline there, but I thought, what the heck, let's get into this. And, you know, it's not a war game, but it is... it definitely fits into the sci-fi fantasy genre. You know, I don't know where I'm going to classify it yet, because it's definitely fantasy, but it feels like it's got a little bit of, at least what I've read up on it, a little bit of a sci-fi vibe as well. But enough of that. Would you turn over to the back of the box, but the back of the box is punch boards. Well, there we go. We got a little bit of talking about on the back of the box here. So basically this is it's for 2 to 5 players, but actually it's with the Leaders and Alliances expansion that comes with it, or that came with this bundle, has a solo variant. And you know how I am about solo variants. So it's got some minis in it. The minis are really kind of just bling. You really don't use them. They're more markers than anything else, but hey, if it's going to be a Euro game, it's got to have some plastic, right? It has a board. It's got a hex board. Hey, we're familiar with that. But you actually don't move on the hexes. You put the location on the hexes, and you actually move in the triangles that are in between the hexes. That's where you move. And if you're touching, whatever you're touching as far as location, those are locations you can visit. This is a little bit of an RPG-like game in that you're going to be what is called a wretched. You've been kicked off your ship by your crew and left to die on this island here, and you've got to kind of redeem yourself or vindicate yourself by scoring, glory or honor points, which is another word for victory points in a Euro game. And you're going to be taking cubes. It's got a pretty clever mechanism on how you take cubes that are potential and then move them to influence, and you use the influence on the board, and then you can move them to this, I can't remember what that's called now, but and you do the third and the highest level, and those actually can lock down stuff. Those kind of give you special bonuses when you use cubes from that area. And so you're acquiring companions or people that help you out along the way. You're getting relics. You can fight monsters. My kids always say I say monster. There's expansions in here. There's several different expansions in this box. There's exotic pets and the like. You can control regions. There's a lot of different ways of scoring honor in this game. It's not just having to defeat monsters, but there's a lot of different ways you can score honor, which is victory points in this game. So it's got a lot going on for it. A lot of people like it in the Euro game genre, but it's got a real strong, kind of it definitely has a fantasy or sci-fi vibe to it, and I thought it would fit into this little segment I do here, which is, again, I try to go with war games, but you know, I play a lot of other types of games. So let's get into this box first here and see all what we get. This is a pretty big size, pretty big box here, and I was really pleased. This auction went for the opening bid. So everything that's contained in here, this bundle, I think it was part of a Kickstarter. If you got it all on Kickstarter, it would have cost me a heck of a lot more than what I end up paying for it, and then free shipping on top of it. So yeah, I couldn't resist. I can't resist deals, right? So we've got we're triple protected here. Look at that. So this is the little insert, or the back cover sheet that you have there. Here are the punch boards. Let's get inside the box first before we get to the punch boards. And then, good size box. Another thing about this company, Green Nebula, Orange Nebula, or where did I get green now there? And this game that I saw is that they've got great storage solutions. You've got all these little game trays that store everything. You've got individual game trays for each of the players, so all you have to do is pull that out and hit the board running with it. I think this is a potential one of the expansions, and it's got 2 to 3 players on that side and 4 to 5. I think this goes with one of the expansions there. You've got a visual guide and rule book. It's 44 pages, but it has all kinds of extra information. You got like an index of the cards. You've got a layout of the components back here. You've got rules on each of the expansions. As I said, this came preloaded with several expansions already. Then you got explanation of the cards and the quest. As I said, this really is kind of a maybe a RPG or sandbox like game where you can kind of go out into the world and do different things, and to figure out your ways to victory. So decent rule book there. You know, it's got a setup. It's full color. You know, it's a smaller page. That's my hand. I don't have a big hand, so that's not a big book. So there's the rules. You have the art and lore of the Awakening. So this is, I think, kind of an art book here. A little bit of frayed there in the packing. So you just got a little bit of art book. That's kind of a nice little touch there. So if you're into the art of Vindication, you've got that. There's a game tray. It looks like this is for some of the main components. And then you have these other separate game trays in here. There's just a whole stack of game trays there. I'm sure this all fits back in together. The question is, can you fit it back in together with all the components? Not sure. Cubes. And we got a Euro on our hands. Hey, this is did an earlier boxing of a war game, and it had cubes. So it had cubes and disc, and here we go, more cubes and disc. So this will be my cube and disc day. You got the minis, and again, these minis are really, my understanding is I don't think they're really used in the game. They're more like markers and the like in here. But you got some, you know, cool minis, or not. Then you've got, look at that, that's kind of cool. So, oops, I didn't put it back like that. And they go in just so. It's kind of a cool tree. That's a cool looking mini there. Ooh, look at that. It's kind of neat stuff there. This one jumped out of its designated spot. So definitely some cool minis there. You got some dice, and these are unique dice to the game. I think the expansion might have new dice for it. You got some metal coins here. Look at that. Got me some metal. What's not to like about this, right? Got me plastic. It got me metal. Got my little standees. Your characters in this game, I think in expansion it changes it, but these little long metal, these little rectangular metal, or I think are the different characters, and you put them in that stand. So that's kind of different. You normally don't see metal put in a plastic stand and moved around a board. You've got your scumbag, because that's what we are. When you land on this island, we're all scumbags, and we got to find our way to Vindication. You would think it'd be redemption, but no, we got to vindicate ourselves. So you got a little scumbag there. That's probably for pulling out cubes, I imagine. You've got all these little cards, and there's several of them, and I think this is like the card stand right there. Sorry for the earthquake. And it's really like a resource management game. You're going to be like taking cubes and then converting them into other cubes to use those for powers. And so each of these are, I think red is strength, but each of these have their indication, and this gives you certain things. You put a cube on one, a companion, and it lets you do stuff. But you have all kinds of different, all the different like companions and pets and relics and other things are all in these cards here. And there's in-game trigger. That's another neat aspect about this game, is that I think you start off with like 2 in-game triggers, and then as the game goes on, you're going to be drawing more from that deck. So the game's got a variable length. I mean, it could end normally with just the 2 in-game triggers, but as the game goes on, more in-game triggers, that makes it more likely to end the game. So the game's not going to last forever, and you're eventually going to end up with somebody's going to hit one of those triggers and end the game, and then you tally up points and see who wins. These are nice little player aids here. So you got what you can do on your turn. Turns are relatively simple. You can activate, move, visit, or rest. Visit is when you go visit a location, or rest is, I think, you get some of your influence back. You can do bonus actions, control a region, gain proficiency, vindicate yourself, recover influence, and convert heroic attributes. So, your goal is to vindicate, but there's a track. There's the in-game trigger. So you might actually end up a game where some people are vindicated and some people are not. And then the people that are not can still win the game. It depends on how many points they have. Here's kind of your conversion track of, like, you have strength, inspiration. You got strength, courage, inspiration, wisdom, knowledge, and vision. And I think, like, if you take knowledge and strength, you can create a vision, and courage and wisdom create inspiration. I think I'd have to read up on this. I think that's kind of how that works. Oh, no, here it is. It takes inspiration and strength for courage. It takes inspiration and knowledge for wisdom, and it's going to take strength and knowledge for vision. So there you go. This is your little conversion chart right there. Then on the back here, you have a little brief explanation of the different map regions. This is kind of, it's got a little bit of a 4X feel, because you're going to be turning over tokens or counters, the hexes, the locations, and putting them on the board, and that will give you new locations. And sometimes your quest is you have to, like, control a certain location or get to a certain location. So that's going to be part of the tension of the game, is getting to these different locations. And this is some of the locations for the expansions, because, as I said, this is pre-built with a lot of expansions. And then the other materials that I got in this bundle have expansions as well. So as I said, there's quite a lot in this box here. But as I said, my understanding, I've watched some videos on it. I have not played this yet, but I've watched some videos, and it looks like that there's quite a bit of gameplay here, but it's not too complicated. I mean, I guess if you sit with the base game, it's really not that complicated at all. But if you go into a lot of the expansions, then you're going to be, of course, ratcheting up some of your complexity level. But you can mix and match the expansions. I think it's kind of a plug and play. You can put some in, some out. It's however you want to do it. And I'm a big stickler on trying to put everything back in the box. So query whether with all this, these other minis, who they're not going to have a spot, and what comes in the Leaders and Alliances box, if I'm going to be able to do all that. So here, these are companions. These look like, these are strength companions, because they're red. And so they're going to have, like, what they give you, and then this is how much honor they give you, and then they have, like, special abilities in the game. What is we got here? These are all companions. So I guess the red are strength, And then there's some different colors. What was that? What was that designation there? That is inspiration. So these are inspiration companions here. I think these are like knowledge companions there. So pretty cool cards. I mean, you know, they're not super thick, but they're not thin. And they got this kind of weird indentation here. So it makes them a little bit different than normal. That they're small, but, you know, usable. Then we have, let's get these open here. Well, there is a little bit of strip on there. I just got to see it. Sometimes I don't see those. The little tag strip. If you watch some of my earlier videos, you notice how much I struggled getting some of this off. So these are pets. Then monsters, loot, journey, infused crystal, and companion. So those look like special companions. They're a little different backing. So all kinds of these are like journeys. So maybe these are like special quests or something. But you got all kinds of different stuff. And then the art's good. I mean, the art's not bad. It's got neat art. Hey, they give you an art book in there, so you got to like the art, right? They give you enough of it. And I think the pets come in an expansion, but I'm not entirely sure on that. And you get the last thing here. So quite a bit in this box here. You know, I might do the leaders and alliances separate. Otherwise, this is going to be a long unboxing here. Oop, I'm dropping stuff inside there. And more cards here. These are in-game triggers. So yeah, there's several different in-game triggers. Traits. That's something you can add to your character. As I said, that kind of gets some back to the RPG elements of this. There's relics you can collect. Secret quests. So, I mean, there's a lot in this box. And a lot of gameplay and a lot of different variety of gameplay that you can just kind of add on or add or subtract how you want to the base game there. So, yeah, I made a mess here, and I got to pull this out here. Let's get into some of the punch boards here. And these are these little for the player, each player, all the components you need for that player goes in. I believe goes into those containers there. A lot of plastic. I got my money's worth in plastic. Like I said, this was a deal I've been looking at this game for a while. I decided that I was resigned that, I'm not going to get it. I don't need it. And that's when the base game came out. Then when I saw that they had an expansion that had a solo bot or solo scenario or solo assist system, I thought, well, maybe I should take a look at this. Then I saw this auction. I was like, that's not, it wasn't cheap, but it was pretty much a steal compared to Kickstarter. And, so I said, well, I'll start with the opening bid, see what happens. And nobody else bid. So, and free shipping to boot. So here's the punch boards. These are your locations, and look at that. They just come right out. Look, I'm not even trying to, and they're falling all out over the place. This is like your movement. You can upgrade your movement. These are like masteries or something like that on the different abilities over time. But man, look at that. Just kind of comes right on out there. And here's one of those sample boards here. So you have potential. You have influence, and this is the usable pool, and then you have conviction. These are like super influence to add on to stuff. You've got some notion. There's some, I think part of the expansions, there's like guilds or something that you can add some of their abilities there. I think I got to read into that more. But you move. Part of the game is managing this resource of using influence to get out on the board and activate stuff, but then trying to get stuff from potential to influence, then trying to get your influence back, back at times so you have influence to play, and then for some more powerful stuff, you want to get conviction and use that. I think this is one of the guilds, and so there's a guild thing there. That's one of the expansions, I believe. See if I can open more of this without dumping it all out. And this is going to fall right out, so I'm going to be kind of careful with these. Oh, look at that. Told you. Some more locations. Boy, this is a nice punch board. really comes out. Hey, for you war gamers, no counter clipping on this stuff. You can see they're pretty nice. And your last punch board here. So pretty good stuff there. So, I think I'm going to do that. Oh, here you. This is an example of your starting character, you the Wretched. And so this is, to activate yourself, you can always create one of these, or so you can recreate one of these. Usually your companions are a little bit more efficient. They produce like more of these, but probably in just one color. And then when you vindicate yourself, then you're vindicated, and you're going to get some glory or honor. I don't know, call it glory. And you're a little bit more effective in how you do your abilities there, if you can see that. So you the Wretched. So you are a wretched scumbag as you start this game. So I think I'm going to cut it there before I go into this other stuff, and I'll probably do a separate little thing, but I'll probably still do it tonight because I kind of want to get this all open. But there you have it. This is what you get in a box of Vindication as part of my, special late night Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Let me see if I can get to the next unboxing while it's still Saturday. But hope you guys enjoy this. I know that for most people that watch this channel, this is not your bag, and it's not your bag. So I understand that, but I play all kinds of different games, and on Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday, I try to, explore a little bit. So, and maybe someday I'll vindicate myself. Anyway, thanks for spending some time with me. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for watching.